This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com. And I'm sorry, fans, I went on early before with the app guy that we discussed, the SWE Fury app. And now James Beard is with us, SWE Fury Matchmaker, world famous referee. And we're actually on early. I'm all confused with the time zone. So thank you for coming on, James.
Oh, well, we all get a little mixed up when we do all this traveling and everything. I can remember when I used to go to Japan all the time, I was always messed around, so I can relate.
So why don't we discuss what happened? I mean, Charlie Haas got arrested, but he won the title after a year. Tim Storm shockingly lost the title in a match that we didn't even know if it was going to happen. But not only that, do you have any update? Is Haas still in jail?
I haven't heard anything since Saturday night. I do know that his attorney has contacted our office, and Charlie's crazy, man. I don't know what's gotten into that guy. He's so intense and so wild and crazy. I'm assuming that they'll figure out some way to get him out if they haven't already done that now. But it was a crazy night. He did win the title. He did win. It was a little bit of a shock, but he did. And I guess we'll see what happens when we get back on.
And of course, Rodney Mack retained his title, which is no real surprise with the way he's been running over competition.
Rodney Mack is a beast, man. He is like a guy on a mission. I'm hearing rumors that he's wanting to take on more and more and bigger and better. And I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll try to throw some competition his way to maybe at least give it the old effort, try to find somebody who can stand up to him. But it's going to take a man, I can tell you that.
And then we had Jax, Dane, and Crimson making a very impressive debut in SWE Fury. Of course, Jax Dane, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, and Crimson is a monster that's been used in Impact and I believe Ring of Honor a few times, but he's really come into his own. But I think these guys might have to be one of the favorites to take those tag team titles that are vacant.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. They're an impressive team. Two big guys who are athletic and they come right at you. They're hard hitting and I think it's going to. They definitely have to be a couple of the favorites for the tag team titles, and we're going to crown a tag team champion at Carthage on the 27th of February, and I'm hearing that there's some pretty good competition coming down the line for that too. There's a team in Georgia, or I think they're based out of Georgia, called the Colos, who have qualified. I know that for a fact, and they're pretty tough themselves.
Yeah, I've actually interviewed them, and they are mentored by Nikita Koloff.
Yes.
I don't know if he's going to be there, but he definitely has taught them a lot over the years, and they've all three been on this podcast before, and they're definitely big bodybuilders. And of course, the women's division, we had Christy Janes retain her title over Sue Young. What did you think about that match? I caught that match, and I was very impressed by it.
Very good match. I tell you, I don't know that I've ever seen anyone quite like Sue Young before. Quite a strange character, and she gave Christy all she could handle, and Christy came out on top. But it was a struggle for her, and such an odd style that Sue Young has. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of her. And speaking of the women, I'm hearing that Malaya Osaka is requesting. She's been winning at SW, and she's she's requesting a shot at Christy also, so that may be coming down the pike too.
Yes, she actually did a promo that I recorded, and she seems very intense and very determined. There's a few fans commenting your sound quality is a little blurry. Do you want to try signing out and signing back in to see if that makes a difference?
Sure, let me try that real quick.
Sorry about that, fans. You never know with these live interviews what can happen, but we will be taking fan questions. So anyone that has fan questions for James Beard, we will definitely ask them in just a few minutes. Barbara Ridge is promoting her wrestling Facebook page. Well, I have one too, at the Hannibal TV, where this is streaming right now. Ad free. We stream lots of ad free videos. Let's hear you now.
Better or not?
I think it's better.
Okay.
Okay, so he sounds a little better, guys. Of course, the other thing we had was the debut of Selena De La Renta managing the Blood Hunter. What did you think of that? She was attacked by one of the fans, which is something you don't really see in modern wrestling very often.
No, you don't. She's an impressive lady and a very strong lady. You can tell that really by just being around her. I mean, she knows what she wants, and she really takes control. And obviously, she has a lot of influence on the Blood Hunter. And I'm interested to see how that goes with her. I understand she's a competitor also, so who knows? She may end up in the ring at some point, but if she does, I'm sure somebody will have their hands full.
Yeah, the only thing I think is they may need to find the Blood Hunter some better competition, because I don't think Justin Credible had trained enough for that match. It looked like he was going to have a heart attack. I was watching it from the back.
Yeah, Justin is and I've known him a long time, and you know, like all of us, we get older, and we get to that point, you know, where maybe it's just gone. But I think he might give the best effort he could, and he just wasn't enough to handle Blood Hunter by any means.
And as far as Carthage, what else can we expect? You mentioned Blood Hunter. We know Blood Hunter is going to be there. We know Davey Boy Smith, the Boogeyman, Teddy Long, Shaul Guerrero, Lacey Von Erich, so many stars. Are there any matches signed yet? I know there was meetings going on about this in the last.
Yeah, we're finalizing some things right now. I think like I said, Rodney Mack is really pressing us to get some more competition for him. Everybody seems to be doing that. I'm pretty sure that we're going to end up with a Malaya Hosaka and Christy James match for sure. I think that it sounds like both of those girls are up for that, and I'm thinking that that's going to happen. There's a couple other matchups that we're talking about right now. I know that we're going to be doing the tag team tournament. We got Bam Bam Malone and Jaden Lee, who's Animal's son-in-law. They won at Irving, and they're going to be there as a tag team, so they'll be in the semifinals. And then, like I've already mentioned, the Koloffs will be there. It's going to be, and Niles Pluck is going to be back. We'll kind of see how his situation with Adam Asher shakes out, because I don't think that's come to an end by any means.
What about Max Castellano and Moonshine Mantell? Bryce Boudreau interviewed Moonshine Mantell after the event. I interviewed Max before, but I didn't catch their match. I was too busy getting interviews in the back. Is anything settled finally with those two?
I don't think so. I think that's something that's probably going to, I don't know what it's going to take to end that. Max and Moonshine went after it again, and I keep forgetting now. Ryan Mantell wants to be just called Mantell, and I'm going to have to get used to that because I've known him so long. But Mantell He's not going to let this go by any means. I think this thing is going to carry on. Maybe who knows how long. I don't know how to end it. That may be something Teddy Long has to come up with a way to do that, we'll butt heads and see what we can come up with. But those two guys, I'm afraid one of those guys is going to really be seriously hurt if we don't do something.
It may have to be a loser leaves town match where the loser leaves the company, because that might be the only way they could settle it.
It may be. I hate to see that because they're both such great competitors. But we'll do what we have to do. But we're going to have to find a way to come to a conclusion with it sometime or the other. But right now, it doesn't seem like it's about to end anytime soon.
There's a fan on here, Ume One Dragon, that wants to know what is the best match you refereed, which I'm sure that's a very difficult question to answer.
The best match I've ever refereed?
Yes.
Oh, wow. When you're talking about 36 years in the business and literally thousands of matches, that's an impossible thing to answer. I've had so many great matches over in Japan that I remember and I loved working over there. One of the matches I think of sometimes when people ask me about some of the best matches, I remember one between Nicholson and Jeff Jarrett against the Midnight Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. That was one that lasted about 40 minutes, and it was just exhausting. I remember that match as something that stands out. A match between a guy named Steve Anthony, who is an incredible performer, incredible athlete from around Louisiana area, against AJ Styles. That was a match that stands out in my memory, and that was during the NWA days. It's just hard to say. There's so many great times. Freebirds and Von Erichs and all those guys at the Sportatorium. It's a long career, a lot of great matches.
Someone's asking, how are Moonshine's eyes? Were his eyes injured?
He's got some problems. That's what I heard today. I haven't talked to him myself, but my understanding is that I think that there's some issues there, and that's another problem we have with that. I'm hoping that by the 27th he's okay for sure.
And have we figured out what Melina is doing on the 27th? Is she going to be managing somebody? Is she going to be? We know she's not going to be wrestling, but there were rumors from some of the SWE Fury management that she might actually be managing someone, but the person she's managing is still unknown.
Well, there's some talk about that. I'd hate to say for sure right now, but there's a good chance that may happen, and it may be a surprise who she ends up managing.
Somebody is bringing up that I beat AJ Styles twice in one night. Yes, that is true. I pinned him 2 times in one night back when he was New Japan Pro Wrestling champion, but the title was not on the line. Someone's asking you, James, what's the worst match you ever refereed?
Oh, well, I have the same answer almost. After thousands and thousands of matches, there were plenty of stinkers in there. You work with guys of all levels and all styles and some. So I don't want to name any names, but there's been some pretty bad ones.
Yeah, I'm sure over the years, particularly with, I know in the 80s, there was a lot of wrestlers that weren't that well trained. Steve Austin wrote in his book that he wasn't trained hardly at all before he got into the ring for the first time, but it turned out pretty good for him.
Yeah, a lot of guys started that way, and some guys like him turned out to have a very successful careers, and some of them got out pretty quickly after that. I, I remember talking to Killer Tim Brooks one time, and that's how he started. He just got thrown into the ring he was visiting his cousin Dick Murdoch up in the Amarillo area, and they were short somebody, and he got thrown in there and got beat up pretty bad, and I guess he decided that it felt good to him, so he started his career that way. And some guys did that. Back in those days, you didn't have you get a little instruction and then you get thrown in and you see what happens. But I don't even remember. I think some of the first actual schools of training started like in maybe the late 80s, early 90s, and before that it was a matter of just finding somebody that might teach you a little bit, and then just get in there and try your best, and that was the way things worked.
Now, I've never asked you about Chris Adams, but our mutual friend, the guy that made the Chris Adams documentary, allowed me to post it on this channel. What were your experiences like with Chris? Speaking of Austin, who Chris trained.
I knew Chris really, really well. We worked together, traveled together, even promoted some shows with him. Chris was one of the most complicated guys I guess I've ever known in the business. Very complex. Great in the ring. Always had great matches with just about anybody. But he could be. He had his demons, and that was drink basically, and when that happened, he was a different person, and not pleasant to be around. I personally never had a problem with him that way, but I've seen it, and it was sad to see a guy that was so talented and so well liked and popular that had that issue. But he was a supremely great wrestler. He was a judo champion in England. He used a lot of that technique in professional wrestling. He used a lot of that technique in training guys. But he was complicated also. But he was a friend, and I still consider that to be a friendly relationship that we had. But it can be difficult sometimes if the alcohol got in the way.
Did you know the guy that ended up shooting him at all? I know it was ruled self-defense. Most people agreed with that, but there were some that questioned it. What was your opinion on that?
I knew Boo. I still know Boo. I don't see him very often. I hear from him once in a while. I have to agree. There were some inquiries done in some guys like I think Kevin Von Erich and Skandar Akbar, maybe Gary Hart testified, and they said pretty much what I would have said. I've seen how Chris could be when he was out of control, and I can picture that may have happened that night, and that's what Boo Ray told me happened, and it sounded exactly like what I could believe. So I have to say that I think that probably that his story was 100% true. Boo had drinking issues also. He'll tell you that, and that's kind of like mixing two guys with the same problem together, and one of them could be very violent, and it turned into a bad situation. It's really sad.
Yeah, terrible situation. I was getting some notes from one of the SWE Fury people watching this, and what did you think about the turnaway crowd? You guys literally had to turn away fans due to COVID restrictions, which is a good sign that SWE Fury is getting more and more popular.
Yeah, it was really great to see. I mean, that we had as many people that they would allow us to put in there, and I don't know what that exact total was, but it was a great venue. It was set up very nicely. There was the fans. I mean, it looked like a huge crowd. I mean, it was a fun night to see because of that response that we had there. And it was great to see because we were kind of back in our old stomping grounds around the Dallas Metroplex area, and I think that maybe that's a good sign going forward that we can go in there and maybe work there a little bit more often and draw that kind of attention and that kind of interest. I'm really stoked about that, and I'm looking forward to more attempts there in that venue and in that area. Um, Man, I tell you what, it's great to see. We're getting so many great positive uh, remarks and comments and accolades really from people about SWE and what we're trying to do and the way we're trying to present wrestling now there's still things we're working on. It's not perfect yet. We're not really where, at least not where I envision everything yet, but we're getting there, and we're going to keep striving to be better and better, and trying to keep improving it on the talent and everything else. And I'm stoked about it, man. It's coming along really well.
With the fan attack that occurred, and I know Texas wrestling didn't have the past of using barricades. I know some people were asking me, do you guys see yourselves using barricades in the future as you continue to get more popular, to kind of separate the fans from the action? I know the fans love it when the wrestlers get in there, but sometimes there could be some craziness that ensues.
Yeah, there's a safety issue there for both sides, really, the fans and the wrestlers, and that may be something we need to look into. I mean, the old school thing is there weren't any barricades, but we actually had at the sportatorium there was a while there we had like a little tiny rope that went around there that didn't hold anything back, but that it's something that we probably need to look into that, and maybe a little bit better security around the ring to keep fans from getting too out of hand or excited, and also to keep things separated if things get a little out of hand with the wrestlers and they get out in that area too. Because people can get hurt if you don't watch it, and we don't want that to happen with fans. So that's something that we'll probably need to be talking about and try to come up with an answer for the future.
We have someone checking in from the UK watching us over there. Amber Nova and Renee Michelle had two impressive debuts. I got to spend a little time with those two lovely ladies, and I think they have a lot of potential. What was your impression of those two ladies?
Yeah. The both of them. I think both of them have a lot of potential. I think there's a lot of good things I saw. They're both still young, still learning. I think there's a chance that they may be in a position to start challenging here in SWE too, and in Mission Pro for that matter. I mean, that's our sister promotion down there, and which is. It was kind of sad this weekend because they ran the same night we did, although we were miles and miles apart, and some of the girls that you normally see on SWE were down there. So it was we were wishing them well, and they were wishing us well, and it sounds like both of us got our wish. So, but yes, those gals were very impressive. All the girls were at this last event, and I'm looking forward to seeing them again here on SWE Fury.
Yeah, I know Amber is booked for February 27th, and I believe Renee is coming back March 20th in Canton, Texas.
Yeah, I actually need to talk to Jazz and make sure I'm getting all of it straight to see who all is what and who's going to be what. And it's a blessing having Jazz take care of the ladies, and she knows them so much better than I do, and relates to them so much better than I could ever think of. And I'm enjoying having her taking care of those things. And we need to. Well, I need to find out exactly who all we got. To be honest with you.
Barbara Ridge, one of our female fans, is asking if you're ever going to referee again.
You never say never. As it is right now, I'm really busy all night long, and I can't imagine doing the things I have to do during the TV tapings and then having to actually referee as well. At least not regularly. If a special occasion comes up, if something happens that I feel like I might be better suited to take care of a situation in the ring. And I'm not knocking any of our referees; they all do a great job. But sometimes you just have to do the job yourself if you feel like it's that situation. If it comes to that, I'm not opposed to dragging that thing back out and getting back in the ring if I have to. And I always enjoyed working in the ring, being part of the matches, and I'm not opposed to doing that in the future if the right situation calls for it.
This has come up with a few fans, and I already got an answer of this from one of the higher ups. Dustin Rhodes posted on the weekend that Terry Funk wasn't doing too well. As of today, he has not pulled out of the Carthage show. As of today, he is still planning on being there. James might know more, but that's the official answer I have.
That's my understanding also. We've been kind of quiet about Terry lately because we didn't want to overhype the fact that whether he was there or not, and we're well aware of his situation. He's, from what I understand, he's in a lot of pain with his hip. And then I don't know if there's any other complications or not, but I know that's one of the major things. And we're praying for him and hoping that he feels better. And we're hoping that if he is up to it, that he will be with us. And as of right now, it's still on go, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that it'll stay that way. If something changes, we'll let fans know. But the main thing is we're thinking about Terry. He's one of the all-time greats. A lot of people think he is the greatest, and I couldn't argue that too much. He's a Texas original and a lovely guy, man, and what a great competitor he has been all his career, and he's given his life and his body to this sport. So our prayers are with him, our thoughts are with him. We love Terry, and we're hoping that he's feeling better, first of all, and that if he is feeling up to it, that he'll be with us in Carthage.
And I'll put the poster up right now. You can see there's going to be some stars in Carthage, and this isn't even everybody. Later in the podcast, I'll put up another poster, but it's my understanding that they're going to allow about 1,300 fans into Carthage for that event, which would probably make it the highest attended event in the United States of 2021 up to this point, if we can get that in there.
That would be something, wouldn't it? Having the highest attended event in the United States, even counting WWE and AEW. But I don't know. I don't know what the numbers are exactly. I do know that they allow a larger number there than any other place that we've been so far, and I'm hoping that we can reach that number, and I'm hoping the folks in Carthage will support us there, and the folks in that area. I mean, it's right there on the border of Texas and Louisiana, so people in Shreveport and Marshall's not too far away, Longview, Tyler even. There's a lot of pretty good sized towns, Texarkana with a lot of good sized towns within driving distance, and we're hoping we draw a lot of people from a lot of places, and I think Carthage High School is a pretty well-known high school, great football town. The high school team won the I think it was a 4A class. I don't know which, they've got two divisions. I'm not sure which division they're in, but the 4A school, and they won the state championship this year. And I think we're trying to find a way to maybe honor those guys there too. So we're well aware of the history there in Carthage, and it's a great town. It's also the city where the Texas Music Hall of Fame is. So it's a great place to visit, and so come on to Carthage on the 27th and spend the day there, and then spend the night with us.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be going down there a couple days early, and I'll definitely visit the Hall of Fame. I have another version of the poster here, so as we can see, Mark Henry, Lacey Von Erich, Jax Dane, Jazz, the House of Heathens, Teal Piper, and Demios, Christy Janes, Charlie Haas, the new champion, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Jazz, Kevin Sullivan, Crimson, Rosemary from Impact, Moonshine Mantell, Mil Mortes, the Boogeyman, TV champion Rodney Mack, Melina, and NWA national champion Trevor Murdoch, among others that aren't on that poster, but that's a hell of a card.
Yeah, pretty good group there. I'm looking forward to seeing Trevor. I haven't seen him in a while. He's a great guy, great competitor. I think the people are going to love him. Davey Boy, I've known him and I knew his dad. I worked with both of them, and they're both the same, both great competitors. Davey Boy's a great guy, and I'm looking forward to seeing him again. Haven't seen him in a little while, and it's just a great lineup of wrestlers, and some that will be there just making appearances also. But it's exciting to see all these people wanting to be in SWE, and it's a blessing to us.
I don't think Davey Boy's opponent has been announced yet, but I understand that has the potential to be possibly the hardest hitting match in recent history in Texas. So that could be interesting if that opponent comes through, but I guess time's going to tell on who is the one that's facing Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Well, when they both make the agreement, for sure, maybe we can announce that. I'd like to see that happen. I think Davey's a tough guy. He's very well schooled in MMA type styles, and he's a great wrestler, and he's a guy that'll get in there and mix it up. So if what we're thinking might happens, I think that might be another one of those Max Moonshine type deals. One of those rough type matches that people really get into.
Victor Murphy is asking you about Dick Murdoch. Speaking of Trevor Murdoch, I know there's no relation, but I know Trevor tried to pattern himself after Dick a little bit.
He actually, Trevor is very similar to Dick in some ways. They're both, Dick was a big old country boy, and Trevor is a big old country boy, and they have very similar styles. Both of them very skilled, very talented. They'll both fool you. Neither one of them are body guys. They were the kind of guys that just good old country. We get a good old country whip, and you get in the ring with them. I knew Dick Murdoch very, very well. I worked his last match, as a matter of fact, and he was a good friend, but so incredibly talented. I love Dick, and I miss him. But Trevor is very much like his namesake there, and I'm looking forward to seeing him, and because I like that kind of competitor. I like that kind of style, and it fits really what we're trying to do at SWE Fury.
This is a good question because it's sad to think about now that SWE Fury could be packing this place right now. Could anything have been done to save the Sportatorium from being torn down?
Well, it could have at some point. There was a time when when they were actually talked about renovating it, and I think the cost was just astronomical. I mean, they even talked about putting in central air conditioning and doing all that, and it was, I don't remember the cost figures now, but it was way up there. But the truth is that it probably would have been worth it if they'd done that. The old venue wasn't very pretty, but it was sure a special place to be, and the atmosphere in there was something that like no other that I've ever been involved in. You know, there was a time there when it was salvageable. It would have taken a lot of work and taken a lot of updating and that kind of thing. But I think it probably would have been worth it if just for the historical value, if nothing else. And the way it was set up, there was not a bad seat anywhere in there. So it's a shame that they didn't take that avenue and spend the money and fix it up. I think it would have been something special for years and years to come after that if they had done it. It's sad, really. You know, I see people going there and taking pictures and shooting videos right there on that old spot where it used to stand, and I think every Friday I think about going down there. That was my routine when I was in town, and I miss the old place. It was home.
Bryce Boudreau is asking, is that a rooster clock above your door? The rig Bryce Boudreau, I guess, is watching. Do you have a rooster?
A rooster clock? I didn't know anybody could see that. Yeah, actually, it is. Yeah, I've got a lot of rooster stuff around the house. So it's kind of one of those little things that I have. I guess, you know, you got an affinity for them barnyard animals. But yeah, that is a rooster clock.
There's a fan on here asking if you remember the Dingo Warrior at all from his short stint in world class.
Of course, yeah. I knew him, and he went on to bigger and better things. But yeah, he was a unique character, and very successful in his career. I'm proud for him. I'm glad it turned out. At least the end. It was sad the way his life ended, but the coming back to his people, I think, was a great thing for him at the end, and I was happy to see that.
Now, you've answered this on past podcasts, but Dennis wants to know, he says he knows everything is screwed up right now with COVID, but are there plans to eventually tour the whole country?
Well, yeah, first of all, we want to take care of home. We really are trying to pattern make ourselves a regional company as much as possible. But there's possibilities. In fact, I was talking to Tom Lance earlier today, and there's some possibilities that we may be going out of state a little later on when things loosen up a little bit. There's some interest in having us come to different areas, and we're not opposed to that by any means. We've got TV in a lot of places all across the country, and if people are interested in seeing SWE Fury in any of those places, and we can make it work. We're not opposed to doing that at all. Not even opposed to doing our TV tapings in different places. Yeah, we're not going to go out and try to tell people that we're a worldwide company or anything like that. But because of the situation with our TV and the way it's getting out streaming and all that stuff, we are a national company now. Well, we just are, and so we're not going to close the door on going other places to present our live shows.
Yeah, and I drove from Dallas to Phoenix yesterday, and as I was driving, all I could think about was all of these huge Texas towns that I was driving through that you guys haven't even run yet. So Texas is so big that there's a lot of ground to cover that you guys haven't even covered yet before even thinking about moving on. But I'm sure if people make offers to you too, I'm sure if there's promoters out there or someone that wants to pay to bring SWE to a town, they could go to SWEfury.com and make an inquiry about the cost that would be, because as James mentioned, this is airing in more and more places all the time. Didn't you just get added?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, yeah, we're you know, there are a lot of places in Texas to present live events, but you know, we're not opposed to going to other places, and we're not opposed to doing some fundraiser type situations for people if that's applicable. I think the big thing right now, of course, is for everyone, not just us, everyone, is that this the restrictions on how many people can draw in different places, and the different buildings in different cities have different laws or rules right now, restrictions set up, and we're having to deal with that. And that's one of the reasons why it's so difficult right now to just plan way ahead, because we'd like to be like several months out in front right now, but the problem is so many cities are not sure what's going to happen next month or the month after, or whatever, and so it's kind of it kind of puts you in a difficult situation as far as planning goes, but it's something that we have to deal with right now, and we're just dealing with it. But yeah, I mean, it's we're open to anything, and we're anything in any place if it makes sense.
Well, I have some contacts in Ohio, and I wouldn't mind trying something in Ohio once things get better there, but they're still very locked down. So time's going to tell us things open back up. Matt R is asking you, who are some of the breakout stars going to be in 2021 in SWE Fury?
Oh wow, that's hard to say. I mean, we've got some young guys that are already breaking out. Really, I mean, you know, we've been in business for a little less than 2 years now, and we're still breaking out ourselves. I think you're going to see a big move by both Moonshine or Mantell, I get that right now, and Max Castellanos. If they can ever get away from each other, I think if they can finally settle their differences and get out to a point to where they're concentrating on their own careers moving forward instead of just each other, I think you're going to see those two guys become big players in SWE, and I'm looking forward to that. I was very impressed with Jaden Lee last week in Sweetheart's Brawl. He's a big athletic guy. I think he's a good-looking guy. I think he's going to be a guy that we can watch, as well as Bam Bam Malone. He got in there and battled with Charlie Haas last week at Sweetheart's Brawl, the #1 contenders match, and held his own for the most part. And you know, he's a young guy. Charlie's that old wily veteran. He gets away with a lot of stuff, but Bam Bam hung in there with him, and I think he's a guy that I'd probably keep an eye on here too. And you know, we're hoping to get this tag team division going too. There's some tag teams out there that are inquiring on coming in and begging to go, and I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, those guys, I think off of the top of my head, I think are going to make some big strides in SWE this year if they continue to improve and continue to compete the way they're competing. I think they're going to be hard to hold down. You know, the other guy like No B Bryant, I believe he's another guy that's going to be someone to watch here. You know, we've got some pretty impressive athletes here.
Rachel wants to know, are you going to bring in JBL for an appearance since you're buddies with him?
I actually talked to John about that about a month ago, I guess, and he would love to come in. Like some of the other guys with in WWE, he has they have all kinds of different contracts up there with guys that are not competing right now, and he's under a certain kind of contract that restricts what he can do and what he can't do, and in order to go appear somewhere on another television, he would have to go through WWE, the way I understand it. I know whatever his his deal is, and I don't know the details of it at all, but whatever that is, it's not something he can just say, yeah, I'll do it and then do it. He have to go through some channels in order to clear it. And he's a Texas boy, and he likes what we're doing, and he and Teddy Long are good friends, and he would love to come in and at least make an appearance. I know that for a fact. He's told me that straight up, and maybe that'll happen at some point. I hope so. I'd love to see John in here.
What about the rumor, and I'll just throw this out there to cause it, that maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin could possibly appear sometime in the next few years, since he's
here's the thing. A lot of us here, myself included, have a history with Steve. We've known him since he started, and actually before he actually even started, really, when he was training. And he is, he's a Texas boy too, and he's friendly with us, and we're hoping that at some point that he'll have the time and the chance to come in and make an appearance. I mean, I don't know that Tom Marino, when has talked to him about it directly. I know that there was a time when he made the statement that I owe you guys, so maybe he'll come in and pay that debt. I'm hoping he does. He doesn't really owe us anything, but we would love to see him come in. If he does, I'm sure we'll make a big deal of it.
Yeah, that would be something that I could see him doing, because he likes the style of wrestling that you guys are trying to bring back. And I could see, if whatever contract he's under allows it, that maybe as you continue to get bigger in the next few years, he could maybe do something like that. But that's all hearsay. But tickets are on sale right now for the SWE event in Carthage. If fans go to SWEFury.com, they can find out more information on that. Is there any news on if the women's TV title tournament is going to start in Carthage, or is that going to be?
My understanding from Jazz is she was paying pretty close attention to the girls that were competing at Sweethearts Brawl, and she is going to decide, I think, who the I don't know exactly how she's going to do it. She may have a four in mind or six in mind. I'm not sure. My understanding is that if we're not crowning a TV champion, a women's TV champion at the WrestleFest, then we'll at least be making a step toward that. So I'm not really sure exactly right now. Maybe when we talk next week, I'll have a little bit more information on that.
And I've also heard there's been some discussions of a Texas title, which would be pretty cool to have a champion of the state of Texas.
We have discussed that, and I'm not sure at what point we may pull the trigger on something like that. But that's something that I personally would like to see happen at some point down the road. I think either a Texas title or a Southwest title or something. I mean, the way things are going, and we're spreading out a little bit, you may be bigger than that. I don't know. But yeah, we're discussing a secondary title at some point, and we've got the TV title. That's a pretty important thing too. So you don't want to have too many of them, but that's something that I think we're going to consider at some point down the road.
As far as Tim Storm, will he still be appearing in Carthage now that he's not the champion?
My understanding is he will be. When you lose a title, sometimes you want to kind of lick your wounds and see what happens. He was obviously not happy that he lost, but he's a competitor, and we'll see what response he has.
Yeah, that was a good match. Anyways, it was a close match, and those two have had lots of battles over the years. But Charlie Haas was the better man. If he can get out of jail, I hope that if he's out by now, that he could at least be out in time to defend it in Carthage. But I guess time
Well,
will tell on that.
yeah, I hope for his kid's sake he's already out. But you know, I haven't heard anything, and Charlie's not the greatest communicator in the world outside of the ring. So, you know, he's a little hard to catch sometimes. But yeah, I mean, man, it's hard to describe that guy. He's so intense and so out of control when he's competing that I don't know if he can. I don't know if he can control himself at all. You know, but you know he did win, and he found a way to win, and that's what it's all about in this business. And you know we'll see what kind of Charlie Haas we have if he shows up. I'm sure he will at the East Texas WrestleFest.
Yeah, and that includes an autograph session earlier in the day with all of these stars, just like what happened this past weekend in Irvine. There was a great turnout where the fans actually got to meet and interact with the wrestlers. That's earlier in the day at these Texas WrestleFest, I believe.
Yeah, that's exciting, and we've got a lot of personalities coming in that'll be just signing autographs and taking pictures and that sort of thing. Mark Henry will be back with us again, and I can tell you this. I got a chance to sit around and talk with Mark a little bit that night at Sweetheart's Brawl, and I've talked to him on the phone since then. Such an incredibly intelligent guy with about wrestling and a guy that we would love to have around as much as he wants to be around. He's a blessing to know and a blessing to be a part of this sport. He loves our business, and it's easy to see that. He's very passionate about it, and I'm looking forward to seeing Mark again there at the East Texas WrestleFest and all those other personalities that's going to be there signing autographs and taking pictures and making this a very special event for us.
There's a fan on here asking if there's any plans on a battle royal in the future for SWE Fury.
I don't have any plans for one right now. I'm sure at some point we'll have one, some type, battle royal or the Rumble type or something like that, just to shake things up maybe one night. But it's not something that we've planned right now. Those are things that you want to do at special times and just to create a special situation and at some point we probably will do something like that. But as of right now, that's not planned.
Okay, I see. Well, I thank you for joining us. There was actually 2 podcasts tonight. The guy for the app, Dave, he was supposed to be on with us, but I had my times confused because I'm in a different time zone right now, and I've been at a lot of different ones lately, and the one on my computer has not changed. So if anyone wants to know more,
I'm sorry I missed it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I missed out on that because I may have learned something. Now I still don't know anything about the app, and it's all your fault.
Well, people can go and there's a custom video all about the app now. So anyone that wants to know about the SWE Fury app, there's about a 10-minute video with Dave, who is the developer of the app, that I highly suggest people get, which is free. But speaking of the app, you recorded some interviews for the app. You want to tell us a little bit about those?
Oh yeah, that was interesting and fun. We Friday night after we took care of some business, Teddy Long, Kevin Sullivan, myself, and then Mark Henry joined us a little later on. And we just sat around and talked, telling stories and talking about the wrestling business and all kinds of things that we've experienced. And I don't know, we sat there for well over an hour just talking, and it's something that we plan on doing on a regular basis and including that on our app. That you may see pieces of it on the TV program, but in order to see the whole thing, you'll have to go to the app and watch it. But it's just kind of like a little round table discussion about all kinds of situations and experiences that we've all had, and talking about the wrestling business in general, our opinions about certain things, certain people, and it was fun. I think we finally all got to a point to where we were getting our butts were getting numb, and we had to get up. And we could have probably talked another 2 or 3 hours if it hadn't been for that. But it was a fun situation, and something I enjoy doing with those guys, and look forward to doing it again. And I think it's something that fans will find interesting on the out.
Yeah, for sure. You guys seem to go on forever, and it seemed like a really good conversation that got loud at certain times as well, because I could hear you all the way on the other end of the building where I was doing my own interviews. So I'm looking forward to seeing those. There's a few fans on here. I know you probably didn't watch this, but there's some fans asking if you saw the Royal Rumble.
No, I didn't. I've heard about it and um, read about it and all that. I don't watch a lot of um, WWE or AEW or really anybody else. Um, and not because I don't care about wrestling. It's just not my cup of tea generally. I do know that Edge won the Royal Rumble, and I was glad to see that, because he's a stand up guy, super guy, very talented, and looked like he's in great shape from the pictures I saw. I was happy for him. He's worked very hard to get back into the ring, and I think he proved that he's even though he's a little older than some of the guys he was competing against, he proved that he's still capable of hanging there, and I'm sure probably a lot of those guys couldn't have hung as long as he did if he went in there first and stayed that long. But yeah, I was happy to see that for Edge. I know his trainer very well, Ron Hutchison, a great friend of mine. He trained Edge and Christian and Trish Stratus, and I don't, man, lots of very successful wrestlers, and Ron's a great friend of mine. We hang out a lot at Cauliflower Alley together, and have a good time, and got a lot of respect for that guy, and Ed, he trained some good ones there in those three.
Oh yes, I know Ron very well too. Of course, being from Canada, great guy, and I'm glad
Right.
he's doing better these days after his health issues. Butch Reed passed away last week, sadly. I didn't get a chance to ask Teddy Long about it because Teddy was so busy. Did you have much connection with Butch Reed over the years?
Yeah, I actually got a phone call from Teddy that morning that he was leaving to come here, actually, and he told me about it, and of course Teddy managed Butch and Ron and that Doom tag team, and what an incredible tag team they were. But yeah, I had several experiences with Hacksaw back in the day. Butch was a phenomenal athlete, very intelligent guy, uh, very impressive in the ring, and just so sad to see so many of those guys like that leave us at such an early age. Really, I mean, it's happened a lot, and I've lost a lot of friends, a lot of guys that I care about in the last several years, and Butcher was one of those. He was a magnificent wrestler, magnificent champion. Uh, God bless him. I hate to see him go.
Sad situation. Luckily, I was able to do an interview with him before he passed, so I at least got his career on the record, because unfortunately he was on the outs with WWE towards the end, so they never did any like career interviews with him or anything like that, sadly. But do you have anything to say to wrap this up for today? Thanks again for coming on, and me forgetting what time zone I was in and coming on a little bit early.
Well, yeah. A couple of things. Just first of all, thanks to the folks at Southern Junction there in Irving. they were great. The venue was great. The hospitality was great. The fans were incredible, and the guys that competed there, I thought they did an incredible job, and I'm looking forward to coming back there at some point. Those tapes will be showing here pretty quick, so be watching them on all these outlets that we have for SWE Fury, and of course I'm looking forward to the 27th. I already started working on the cards and things with Teddy and Kevin, and we're going to try to have an outstanding event there that night, and I know we will have, because we've got some outstanding talent coming in, and competitors coming in, and a lot of people coming in to just make appearances. So it's going to be a special time for us there, and the tickets. My understanding, a lot of tickets are already sold. So if you want to go to that East Texas Wrestle Fest, you might want to get on the horn and get those tickets early this time, because I think we're going to have a great crowd there, and I'm really, really looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to it too, and I'm glad I'm going to be there to cover it for you guys. By the way, fans, there's still about 10 to 15 interviews I have not posted from the Irving, Texas event. So one of the guys I interviewed that I haven't posted yet is a good friend of Mr. Beers Jumping, Jeff Jeffries. I got one with him, and he kind of reminds me of Kerry Von Erich, a slightly smaller version of Kerry Von Erich.
Yeah, that's kind of strange, because Kerry Von Erich was his hero. He was a huge fan of Kerry's, and when I first met James, that was all he wanted to talk about. He wanted to know what Kerry was like, and talk about stories about Kerry, and he's really, he is kind of like a smaller version of him for sure. He's very athletic. A lot of the guys the other day in our training, he came to the training camp also, and a lot of the guys there were comparing him to a young Tom Pritchard, which I can see the kind of a similar look, I guess. But yeah, James is a super guy. I wish he could be here more often, because if he were, he would be one of those guys that'd be a fan favorite real fast. He delivers in the ring, and he did the other night. He was magnificent, and it was great to see him. And I'm looking forward to maybe him coming back down here when he gets the chance to. And then I'm looking forward to seeing him in Iowa again at the Tres Vegas Hall of Fame this summer.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. I had the chance to talk with him. Well, thanks again for doing the podcast. Thank you to the fans for all of your feedback and questions. We'll be back next week at 8 p.m. Central Time.
8 p.m.
Yeah, I'll be back in Texas by next Tuesday, so it should be fixed.
Oh, okay. You'll be messed up again.
I thought Arizona was LA time. I thought there was 3 hours difference. So yeah, now I know there's only 1 hour difference between Arizona and Dallas. So
right,
I learned something, and I'm sorry for the miscommunication there, but I'm glad it worked out. And fans, definitely, if you're in the Carthage area, get your tickets, and I'll let James close this off for tonight.
Well, guys, I appreciate this. I enjoy these podcasts. We get a chance to talk about SWE Fury and some other things, and this is my favorite subject. And I appreciate Hannibal for having us here and supporting us the way he does. We will see you next Tuesday night at 8 Central Time.